peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us today. This is Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and on the show we get to bring you the latest news from Kenya by going through the newspaper reviews, and I do that by the help of some of my panelists, which shall join me in a short bit. But before they get in here, I'd like to take us through the headlines this morning, and we start with the Daily Nation. Karune spills the beans on earthy cartels, and that is the main headline. The digitization of records of the Lands Ministry has for the first time exposed the dirt that lay inside the walls of Athi House for decades. Yet, if Cabinet Secretary Farida Karone were to sack all corrupt workers, she would most likely end up with no one to implement the key reforms of converting millions of dusty, worn-out paper files, which we treasure as title deeds, into credible digital documents that can be used as evidence of property ownership. The story is on page 7 of the Daily Nation, and then we turn our attention to just beside that, how Raila is turning BBI form against Ruto, and how Lake Victoria lost fish, dwindling stocks blamed on overfishing. The story is on page 10 and 11. And will Parliament end fuel pain? A team has 14 days to craft VAT Act amendment. The story is on the back page of the Daily Nation. And then we go to the Star newspaper, and the main headline, why Raila Ruto may sign MOU with Mount Kenya. Region's big guns are pushing for a rigorous process to identify their preferred 2022 presidential candidate. The story is on page 6 of the Star newspaper. And a woman seeks exhumation of her daughter. The story is on page 3, and Ministry of Health says no blood clots, 3 million vaccinated so far in the country. I think it's that's a good number, but I think Kenyans, you need to be encouraged to go and get vaccinated. We have enough vaccine as we speak right now, so there's no reason why we only 3 million who have been vaccinated so far. But I think it's a huge improvement compared to a couple of days ago, where we had under, I think, 2 million. So far, so good, but we're still encouraged to go out there and get vaccinated. There are vaccines in all those designated health facilities that the government is cooperating with. So go get your jab, please, so that you are safe, and and the people that you love also are safe. And then we turn our attention to the Standard newspaper. Untold deep state factor in close polls. Governor Francis Kimemia, former head of public service and influential operative in the Kibaki administration, lifts the lead on the system and reveals that it can do in the event of closely fought presidential election. The story is on page 10 of the Standard newspaper. Bittersweet of CBC and how 844 unraveled. That is a special report on the Standard newspaper, page 6, 7, and 8. Sudan's coup bid fails. It's on the world page and page 32. And state seeks to snoop on suspects. That is on business page on page 29. And Molo Line founder from tout to billionaire. Incredible story of David Muchai and his rise from a tout to a matatu owner, and how he guided his peers into joining forces to establish a fleet that operated from Molo to Nairobi, giving birth to Molo Line. Now that's a true hustler right there, and you can see how his journey has been. And anybody who plies the route Kenya to Western Kenya, from Nairobi to Western Kenya, I'm sure perhaps you've used the Molo Line, public services there. So thank you. That is what we have on the front page this morning. So I'm joined by Samuel Tawish, a journalist from Nairobi. Tawish, good morning.
Good morning to you, Miriam Ogutu. Good morning to my colleague panelists who has just joined in, and our viewers who are watching this program in Africa and the rest of the world. It's my pleasure to join you on this program. Good morning, Miriam.
All right, good morning to you. And we're also joined by Sharon Gitonga from, is it Nairobi or Kiambu County? I'm not sure. But Sharon, a very good morning to you. Maybe you could clarify that for me.
Yes. Thank you very much, Miriam Ogutu, and my co-panelist Tawish. It's a pleasure to be in the morning in the morning segment show. And just to clarify, it is in Nairobi County.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, nice to have you today, Sharon, and you look lovely over there. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, so let's just get into the headlines this morning. Of course, the Star newspaper. But before we get into the politics, I want to get into the war against corruption, because this is something that we are sensitive about over here and we have to look at. And so the main headline on the Daily Nation, Caronet spills the beans on RV cartels. The story is on page 7 of the Daily Nation. So we know that the Ministry of Land is one of the ministries in the country that have a lot of corruption and a lot of cartels. And now let's hear what the CES is saying. If Land Cabinet Secretary Farida Karone decided to sack all corrupt workers at her ministry, then she would have almost no one left to serve Kenyans. The Land CS is bang in the middle of converting millions of dusty, worn-out papers that Kenyans treasure as title deeds into credible digital documents that can be used as evidence of proper ownership and underwrite billions of shillings worth of transactions across the country. Ms. Karone therefore needs the honest input of each and every worker at the House, the Lands Ministry headquarters in Nairobi, but the corruption cartels are out to sabotage her efforts. We have looked at this reform, looked at the mess we have created at the ministry over the years, the gaps in data, the gaps in management, all these things, and we came to the conclusion that if we take the punitive approach, this reform will not go through. Samuel Tawish, what do you hear Karone to be saying?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Miriam, for that question. And I think Miriam and my colleague panelists and our viewers who are watching, it serves really no purpose for Karone to come out and tell us that there's a lot of corruption activities that are happening in our Ministry of Lands. Because again, away from just bringing that to the public domain, what else is her ministry through her leadership doing to ensure that we can be in a position to arrest this matter of vice in her ministry? We want to see her swift move into action and have these individuals, for example, prosecuted, those who are involved in corrupt activities, because Miriam, the ordinary mwananchi, are helpless and they look upon those in the leadership position to be in a position to safeguard their resources, to safeguard their monies. But if you have, CSS or people who are in government, people who are in those powerful positions, coming out and speaking as though they're helpless, as though they do not have any power, as though there's nothing they can do completely to try and arrest this particular vice in their respective portfolios, then I think they are equally held responsible, or they should be held culpable for the doings or the wrongdoings that are happening in those particular ministries, Miriam. So it is not enough for Karone to come out and tell us this is what is happening. She has to move ahead and make sure that these individuals are really arrested and prosecuted. Miriam, because how can you be in a position to tell me that you left maybe your phone at the table, but when you came back, you found it's not there? Yet there are people whom you left maybe in that particular room. So, I mean, you can easily trace all these particular matters. You can trace who lost or who put which file where. You can actually understand who gave a wrong title deed to which farm or which land. I mean, this is something that is traceable. So Karone cannot tell us she's helpless. She cannot tell us that her hands are tied. Away from telling us that, we want to see her take action. I submit.
Okay, thank you so much. And I think according to Karone, she, using your analogy there, Samuel Tawish, she actually knows who has taken the phone. But apparently, if this person is held culpable, this might mess up the reforms. So I think part of the reforms was to get rid of corrupt individuals at this ministry. So what is she telling us here, Sharon Gitonga?
Thank you very much, Miriam, and my co-panelist, Tawish. I definitely agree with what Tawish said, whereby she needs to stop talking too much and put action in place. She should bite the bullet, and when she says that her word, you know, bringing out the culprits because she's afraid she might be left working alone. Yet she's the leader. I mean, she's the CS. She's the overall. You cannot do things the same way and expect different results. So for me, I feel like she should just take control and bring all the culprits to book, because this has really brought so many Kenyans into depression. I mean, these are issues of historical land injustices. So unless she stops talking and put action in place, yeah. And then another thing, I think we thought about the issues of filing land issues. Why can't we get a module of whereby all these files are digitized? That's in that manner. Then we are able to curb or rather reduce the cases of corruption. And I don't know if she can also seek advice from Charity Ngilu, because I feel like when she was in power back then, she was able to improve service delivery and streamline operations. Yeah, so those are my sentiments for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And I'll still stay just a little bit on this story. And if you were to look for people to punish, that is what the CS Karune is saying. If you were to look for people to punish for the mistakes that have happened in the ministry, then I'm afraid you might be left with no one to do the reforms, because in one way or another, we have all committed errors of omission or commission, she said in an interview with A Nation on Monday, after about 3 years of painstaking design and development of the new National Land Management Information System, NLMIS, a system meant to capture, update, and relay live land-related data. Land transactions in Nairobi went digital, and the CSS problems with the cartels just started. Perhaps from what you see, we've seen a sort of an overhaul, and like we saw happening in the judiciary. Remember when the reforms were really punitive? And from here, from what I hear the CS to be saying, Samuel Tawish, is that if that is the route the Ministry of Lands decides to take, and then some of these reforms will not happen, really. Is it perhaps about time we had a complete overhaul in this ministry, and especially the civil servants in certain levels of that ministry, so that we are really able to have proper reforms? Because she sounds like, oh, fine, we know they're wrong, but just let them be there because we still need them.
Miriam, that is the fiasco that we find ourselves in, that the CS can come out and confess openly that there are corrupt individuals or elements within her ministry, but again, reluctant to take action. Or she fears if she was to take action, maybe she will be left with no one. In fact, she has gone to an extent of saying that almost everybody at her ministry, I don't know, including herself or not, are actually responsible for the corrupt activities that have been taking place at the lands ministry. Miriam, I think that is just a confession enough that the whole lands ministry is a rotten institution, is a rotten ministry, and needs a complete overhaul. Not just patching up and making sure maybe there are a few individuals who are going to be left out. I mean, we need a thorough audit of all individuals who are working at the Ministry of Lands to just understand what has been their role, what has been their responsibility in as far as maybe land matters are concerned, in as far as fake accusation of fake documents in the name of title deeds are concerned. So I think we need a thorough audit. We need probably to form a commission of inquiry to try and carry out. This is so magnanimous. I think this is a huge matter that cannot just be left at the ministry alone. It is something that I think even the president can now take action and ensure we have a commission being put in place to try and investigate these allegations that have been brought forth by the minister for land, that is CS Karune. So I think that is that will be the way forward, because again, with the commission, Miriam, I think the outcome of which the report that they will be coming up with, the recommendation, will now inform us of the way forward in as far as what other reforms or what needs to be done so that we can have a cleaned lands ministry, so that the people of Kenya can rely in this particular critical ministry in as far as land matters and accusation of the relevant documents in this particular ministry are concerned. So we need a total overhaul. But before that happens, probably I suggest we should have a commission put forth to try and investigate these allegations. I submit, Miriam.
Okay, very well. Thank you so much. And maybe, just to add on what you've just said, Samuel Tawish, maybe even bodies like, EACC and whatnot should come in, especially in the corruption aspect of it, because this is what she's saying. We are building strong system so that we free ourselves of the burden to look for people to punish. Let us just build the systems, because if we look for people to punish, I guarantee you 3/4 will be punished. Sharon, we can build a strong system, but we can still punish those who are perpetrating corruption and messing up this very important ministry. Can't we do both?
Yeah, thank you very much, Miriam Ogutu. On the issue of system, I think these really need to be sensitized, because, we are living in the era of whereby if they have weak systems, then there are people who are, I don't know if I can call them cyber, someone who can easily log into their systems and, get print the alleged title deeds. And on the other hand, it's going to bring land issues in future, because someone might claim they have a title deed, yet they have acquired it the wrong way. So just like you said, I think we need to have commissions on board, and also have clear, just like what Tawish has said, if we can, clear out the staffing. I actually understand that the Ministry of Lands has, I don't know if I can say excess staff, but yet we cannot see anything that is done. If we can clear with all those cartels, and then also have systems looked up to, and also have commissions, just like from like people like bodies like EACC, we are going to be in a better position. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So she's saying, Tawish, just going back to what I think we've answered that, but I want to understand perhaps. I'm finding it difficult for her, for understanding what she's saying, that if you were to fire people, punish people, about 3/4 of ministry officials will go home. All right. So we're just going to save them. We already know these are people who are a problem. And while these reforms are going on, apparently, these people are still there. So is she naive to know that even as these reforms are going on, and these people are still part and parcel of these reforms, they will still, get ways to corrupt even the system, even the digital system? Why should we cover up? Is this not negating the gains that the country is trying to make when it comes to the fight against corruption?
Indeed, Miriam, it would be defeatist rather for CS Karunei to come out and confess to the people of Kenya that indeed her ministry is rotten, but it looks like there's nothing much she can do about it. Just like I've suggested earlier on, Miriam, I think this is the moment we do not need to continually massage these individuals. Anyone working in those critical public institutions must be people of competence, people who are trustworthy, people who are honest enough, and people who are diligent for them to provide effective services to the people of Kenya. Short of it, Miriam, I do not think that we can continue having these individuals in place. There are so many other Kenyans out here who are educated, people who are qualified and suitable, who can serve in those respective positions. And so if anyone is abusing their position, if they're using these positions that they have been given courtesy of the public to go there and swindle the public coffers, then I think, Miriam, we can't give these individuals a second chance. This is a moment we need to rein on these individuals and rein effectively, so that we have a total cleanup at the Ministry of Lands, just like we call upon a total cleanup of all other ministries and institutions in this country. Because again, corruption has become synonymous with our leaders, like I said, and I continue to say the same. It has become so synonymous with our leaders, especially those who hold public office, and also those who feel like maybe they're untouchable. So in this sense, Miriam, I think the CS Karunei has now kicked off the debate that probably it is not only about the lands ministry. It's something we need to broaden our look, and probably investigate other agencies and other government institutions in as far as corruption is concerned. So this is something that I call upon the president actually to take action, because he has already demonstrated that commitment and will to deal with the corruption in the country. And in that sense, therefore, I do not think that the president can waste any more minute, lest Kenyans will have to blame him and maybe think he's part and parcel of what is happening, or is allowing this particular vice to continue flourishing in the country. Miriam, I submit.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, we'll just leave that matter there. But I think this is something that we will be following very closely and see how these reforms at the House are going on there. And still staying with matters corruption, still on the same page 7 of the Daily Nation. KCB Bank Manager Vincent Cheruiyot yesterday detailed how Samburu Governor Moses Lenol-Kulal used his personal assistant to move money through accounts. In his testimony, the bank manager laid bare how the transactions in the governor's accounts were being done. He said the governor's PA would transfer and withdraw money, then wire the same to Mr. Lenol-Kulal's accounts. All right, forgive me, this name is just a tongue twister. Angered by a 2-hour lateness by prosecutor, senior principal magistrate Thomas Nzioka warned them of dire consequences should they repeat the same on Thursday when the hearing resumes. The matter was scheduled to start at 9:30 a.m., but the prosecutor showed up in court a few minutes past 11 a.m. The magistrate said should the same be repeated, he will issue order citing the prosecution for contempt of court. Okay, so apparently even him and his team were late for, like, who even gets late for that level of, case in court? Who just gets late for a court session? All right, but apparently Lenol-Kulal's, set of the team were late for the court session yesterday. But what I find to be interesting, I think it is the first time I'm reading a story that has to do with corruption, that even the bank had to come and give its testimony on how the money is being moved in that bank by certain individuals. This is the first time, so we need to bring everybody on board here, as I'm also a wish.
Absolutely, Miriam, because the fight against corruption, like I've always said, should be a collective responsibility. Each of us must do our bit in order for us to win the war against corruption in the country. For example, we cannot have whistleblowers if we cannot have people or institutions coming up and reporting these matters, or sometimes even give evidence to this that can help actually nail these culprits of corruption. Then we will not be completely winning the war against corruption, Miriam. So I think it is quite encouraging that we can have an institution such as a bank coming up and trying to help even the prosecution and the courts in giving more evidence to nail these particular individuals. I've seen you struggle really to pronounce the name Lenol-Kulal. I think maybe you can go with Kasaine because it's the same person. So Miriam, I think this is a step in the right direction, but it's also quite discouraging. Like you've mentioned, that we have the prosecution coming up in court very late, almost 2 hours, 2 hours later. And that is also not a good thing. It just points to the fact that maybe not all of us are quite committed to in the fight against corruption, or we are part and parcel of this corruption network. It is just the other day I was also reading in the newspapers that the Aurora and Kimorel Dam scandals files have gotten lost, Miriam. It doesn't quite surprise me, and it's many times it makes me even lose confidence and trust in some of these institutions and individuals who handle these critical files, because an ordinary person who has stolen a chicken, you can never hear that their file has gotten lost. In fact, the matter is being handled effectively and even with the speed that you'll get surprised. But when it comes to these high-profile individuals, the elites, I mean, many times the files get lost or cases are delayed or sometimes they're given lenient bail. You cannot quite understand. And I think it is quite discouraging on the part of the public that we can have our key institutions that we should otherwise be relying on to speed up the wheels of justice being part and parcel of those who are delaying it. I submit, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, Mr. Cheruiyot, that is the KCB bank manager, tabled in court several documents showing how a petrol station, Oryx service station, associated with the governor was paid millions from May 9th, 2013. In the case, Mr. Lenol-Kulal is charged alongside the County Secretary Stephen Siringa, Letinina, Chief County Secretary Daniel Nakua. I will not read the next name because it's really like that other one, among others. The charges state that between March 27th, 2013 and March 25th, 2019, the governor conspired to commit an offense of corruption leading to unlawful payment of 84,695,996 no, is it 84 billion from what I see here, 84 million 695,996 for his service station. So he used his power, and there's a case of conflict of interest here. I think he was ordering the county cars or something to go, or fuel at his petrol station. This is ridiculous, and the amount of money that the public and the county of Samburu must have lost there. Sharon.
Thank you very much, Miriam. For me, I don't know why I'm thinking this is an issue of money laundering in the name of petrol station. But just like what my fellow panelist has said, I feel like corruption at this rate should be weaponized and stigmatized, because it's really a crisis. And when I hear about the bank coming in to bring in more evidence, I am encouraged that we are moving towards the right direction. No matter how slow it is, I am getting slowly encouraged. But another thing, we should also know that just like Tawish has said, this is a collective responsibility whereby everyone. It's a responsibility to each and every person to know that it's a part, and we are in this. We should work in this all together to end corruption. And what I would continue urging the systems, the judicial systems, is not to be lenient. To fight these cases of corruption. They should give justice and rather, even when you see like the issues that we had, whereby someone is given a very lenient in terms of you can pay in installments. In such cases, I wish they should stand firm and be very just to the people that are caught in the act of corruption. Thank you.
Okay, and so another story that I think Kenyans are really quite interested to know how this will end, and that is the recent, hiking of the fuel prices in the country. And on the back page of the Daily Nation, MPs seek to amend VAT Act in push to reduce fuel prices. The push to reduce fuel prices is before the National Assembly, where a committee is required to propose amendments to scrape a tax on petroleum products that has been blamed for the spike. Yesterday, National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi gave the Finance Committee 14 days to craft an amendment to the Value Added Tax Act to repeal the 8% tax imposed on petroleum and petroleum products. The Speaker shortened from 60 days the period stipulated for the committee to file a report, citing the urgency to address the matter. It followed a petition filed in the House by Mr. Anthony Manyara and Mr. John Wangai as public uproar intensified over the recent increment on fuel prices between 7 shillings and 13 shillings per litre. I mean, I wish if anybody can fix this fuel problem, it will be Parliament.
Yes, indeed, Miriam, it is Parliament. And I think for so long, the members of the public have just been left at God's mercies. I mean, the people whom we have elected to go and represent us, to go and legislate, and to go and oversight the excesses of the executive are not doing that. Instead, what we continue to see is a constant politicking coming from our politicians, more so at the National Assembly and the Senate. It's a very big disappointment, and the Kenyans are very truly frustrated out here that we can have an already overburdened taxpayer really reeling the pain of more fuel prices, because again, it is not just about the fuel prices or the petrol prices, Miriam. I mean, this goes down, it has what I'll call a ripple effect that goes to other, of course, productions. For example, it makes even the cost of unga go up and the cost of other basic commodities really go up. When you increase this fuel, it makes life unbearable. When you increase the price of fuel, Miriam, like it is today in Kenya, it really becomes so painful to the ordinary mwananchi. And I think it is incumbent upon Parliament really to look into it. They cannot come out here and be hypocritical that are trying to complain to President Uhuru Kenyatta or even trying to point fingers at the government. I mean, this is their responsibility to make sure that such kind of excess taxation on ordinary mwananchi does not see light of day. So that is the only forum that they can go and do it, not in the funerals, not in the churches, like you've seen Deputy President William Ruto, who claims to have so much majority of members of parliament. I don't understand why he cannot call the Metcaren and direct them really to come and help make this legislation that is going to be a bit favorable and fair to the ordinary mwananchi. But whatever we are seeing from our politicians, it's more of politicization of what is happening. We understand that the economy is not doing very well, but when it comes to this aspect of the fuel prices, Miriam, I think this is something that must be looked, because again, it has a far-reaching effect when it comes to other costs of living. I submit.
Okay, thank you. But before I let you go, Tawish, and go on to the next panelist, there is a catch in this fuel prices, because we know the proposal to amend the VAT Act will likely occasion a standoff with the government, considering it was one of the loan conditions set by the International Monetary Fund earlier this year when they were giving us the last loan. International Monetary Fund and the IMF's condition was informed by the apprehension that Kenya was likely to face distress in financing its huge public debt and needed to raise more revenue. So MPs have wanted the Finance Committee chaired by Homa Bay Women Rep Gladys Wanga to deal with the petition within 7 days. So let's look at the IMF aspect of that.
So that is quite okay, Miriam, because again, we have to be responsible enough and ensure that we rise to the occasion and be able to pay our debts. But again, that does not mean that we always have to go back to an already overburdened taxpayer. I mean, there's a way government can do this by, for example, going for the wealthy and maybe trying to see other areas of taxation that they can probably impose more tax. But when you target an area like fuel prices, Miriam, hiking fuel prices, then it's going to have a far-reaching effect. It's going to affect all other factors of production. And in itself, therefore, the cost of living goes high and unbearable for the ordinary mwananchi. I do not contest that we need to pay our debts. But again, government can look into other areas where they can impose this taxation to get this money so that they can be able to pay the debts that we owe. But again, not actually continuing to overburden the ordinary people. I think that is what we are protesting, and we must stand with the ordinary mwananchi at this particular time, Miriam. Life out here is not easy. It's very, very difficult. And there are people even who struggle to have one meal a day. So if you continue to make it more difficult for already people who are facing it tough, then people become disenfranchised, people become frustrated, and you're likely going to see these cases, of course, translate into worse situations as we move forward. Okay. I submit, Miriam.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Samuel Tawish. We're also joined this morning by Daniel Wesonga. Wesonga, very good morning to you.
Yes, very, very good morning, Miriam Ogutu at our headquarters in Nairobi. Good morning to my good brother at Tawish Olisasina and Sharon. I'm happy to join the conversation this morning, Miriam.
Okay, thank you, and it's nice to have you. So now we were looking at the MPs who are now seeking to amend the VAT Act in push to reduce the fuel prices, but we know that the IMF had pushed for higher taxes, I think earlier this year, as a condition to give Kenya the loan, and just to ensure that Kenya is able to even pay that loan. So that, increasing taxes was one part of it, and also the reforms that we see now take place here in our leading university also was part of those conditions. So is there likely to be a standoff between the government and this proposal, should it see the day of light in Parliament?
Yes, first and foremost, Miriam, I would really like to point out the pretense and the hypocrisy of our legislators. They know quite well that these are the recommendations which were given the IMF, especially on fuel and also a few universities. You remember even University of Nairobi was told to restructure, and amongst many other universities, in order to be able to collect enough revenue or to raise enough revenue to be able to pay these loans. So I think with the MPs and senators, they're a bit of trying to play politics with this particular issue, which is understandable because we are only a few days to elections, to the general elections, and I believe they are using it as a tool or rather fodder for their campaigns. But one thing I would really like to point out also is that whatever conditions IMF has given out, like my brother Tawish has said, most of them are quite untenable. For our country right now, I believe the economy is quite biting, owing to the fact that we've been grappling with COVID-19 since 2019, and the economy has been actually taking a hit. We are not able to raise as much money as they could have expected under maybe serene conditions. But as it is right now, to me, I think it is a modern day colonialism, or what we call neo-colonialism, in terms of forcing the country to undertake very, very drastic tax measures and reforms that actually end up discriminating a bigger part of the population. And I will say, Miriam, without any shadow of doubt, right now, as it is in Kenya, not even the rich are actually living comfortably. The tax is quite high, and it is because the IMF and other foreign credit givers have put very hefty conditions for our country to be able to repay these loans. And I will say, like Dr. Matsanga will say, we don't have money as a country. We do not have structures which will comfortably pay these loans. Why can they forego some of these loans? Remember, these are the countries which colonized our country. These are countries which took a lot of resources from Kenya during the colonial years, and we have never been compensated for all this. Can they also forgo this loan because we cannot pay? We don't have the ability to pay. If we try so much to meet their conditions, that means that we're going to be overtaxing our population. We are going to get them into a tax slavery, and that will mean that the structures of our economy are going to collapse, actually. When you see the fuel prices going up every day, you don't know, there's some details that most people do not read. And this is the fact that we're going to have a high cost of living for the basic commodities. Forget about fuel, those who drive their cars and visit the fuel pumps frequently. But we are talking about the trickle-down effect that will emanate from that hike in fuel prices. One, we're going to have a hike in commodity prices, basic commodities, bread, sugar, milk, coffee, and all that. Number two, we're going to have a hyperinflation. And a hyperinflation means, Miriam, that economy will actually on a downward mobility. We shall be having what we call the economy is growing in a negative way. So that will mean that Kenyans are actually going to suffer more from this particular situation. So my clarion call perhaps to the foreign donors will be to reconsider some of these recommendations, and especially the IMF. If Kenya is not in a position to repay these loans, why can't they carry them forward, or maybe just give us a reprieve as we try to rejuvenate the economy from the ravages of the pandemic? And then later on, we could be able to look forward on a way of working out on how to pay these loans. I remember reading a letter which was written by Thomas Jefferson, and he was talking about these debts, these loans which had been taken maybe even by Moi's regime, being a burden to a generation which was born even 10 years. You know, kids who have been born in 2000, 2005, going forward, you know, being slaves to this particular loan. We should have a legislation, an international legislation, which actually writes off loans which are a certain period of years old, so that we do not overburden our future population. Right now, Miriam, having a kid this era means that we are going to have those kids overburdened by tax, perhaps, which they did not even benefit from, which is quite unfair. And I think we should reconsider that as a country, and the international community also, through the IMF and other bodies that offer loans to third world countries, should actually look into such a particular matter. Otherwise, they will not be helping, they will not be serving their purposes like IMF of growing the third world economies. Rather, they'll be crumbling and even causing chaos in those countries. I submit.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sharon Gitonga.
Thank you very much, Miriam, and my fellow panelists. Just like my panelists have talked about the MP's state of hypocrisy, yet they're the same people who make and pass these laws. So when we see them trying to cry fool at this moment, it's very clear that it is a political strategy, to win the heart of Kenyans. But then again, I would suggest that we get a lenient solution that doesn't overburden the citizen through the hefty taxations, but also bearing in mind the issue of the IMF. So for me, what I would suggest is probably can we cut or rather delay some of the development projects by the government. Maybe in that manner we are able to we are able to save on some money from that end and not overburdening, because this issue directly, it really affects the common mananchi. So if we can have some of the development expenditures cut down or delayed, I think we would be in a right place.
Okay, so when you say the government to cut down on its development agenda, are we saying we stop the projects that are ongoing? Because also one of the conditions by IMF is for the government to not start new projects, but complete the ones that are currently ongoing. So what is your suggestion? We stop the ones that are ongoing, or what do we do here?
I would suggest we delay them or, or even cut them down. But also when I look at the issue...
We delay which ones? The ones that have not started or the ones that are ongoing?
Yeah, started.
Okay. All right, Sharon.
Yeah. Can we also review procurement systems? Because I feel like they also, you see, when we had an issue, when you look at the procurement systems, I feel like they overprice everything. If you ask them on the amount that would be used to construct a classroom, you find it's like $1 billion, and yet when you do your background research, it costs like $1 million or less. So if we can also review the different procurement systems in different organizations, I think we'll be able to save up.
The overpricing, and of course Daniel Wesonga will remind us of those wheelbarrows that costed how much in which county?
Yes, Miriam, those was
over 80,000 in Bungoma.
Can you imagine? And usually what is the price of a wheelbarrow? Is it 5,000 or thereabout?
5,000 or less.
Or less, because I remember buying two in the village. I think they're like 3,500 or 4, I can't remember, but we bought them at is it Bungoma County?
Yes. During the reign of Ken Lusaka, the now Senate Speaker.
So when you talk about the overpricing, yes, that is the reality that you have to grapple with. Okay, I'm really trying to stay away from politics because I think there are other important things like COVID-19 and the vaccination that, Kenyans should know about. And on page 4 of the Star newspaper this morning, low uptake, Ministry of Health says no blood clots, 3 million jabbed. No cases of blood clotting have been reported since Kenya started administering vaccines against COVID-19. Health Chief Administrative Secretary Rashid Aman has said. Rashid told MPs on Tuesday the 5 vaccines being used are safe and have met the highest international health standards, yet fewer than 2% of the population has been vaccinated because of vaccine hesitancy, he said. Rashid appeared before the National Assembly's Health Committee. The CAS said the Pharmacy and Poisons Board is monitoring adverse effects following immunization, and so far no clotting has been reported. Personally, I've taken my first jab. Who else has had their COVID vaccine here on the panel? Before we start attacking.
Yes, Miriam, I had mine. I think I'm going to be having a second one in a few weeks' time.
All right, good. Tawish, umepata jab yako ama bado una hesitate?
Well, Miriam, I must confess I haven't had one, but it's not informed by fear.
We need to start by calling you out. Tawish, I will.
Well, I've just been away, but I think I should be doing that in the course of this week.
The vaccine is all over the country. I will not let you get away with that.
It's only when you're in Nairobi that you will say it's all over the country. But when you get to my local village in Kilgoris, specifically in Kilgoris, Miriam,
yes,
things are not the same as we speak in Nairobi.
Okay, so that is also another information that perhaps the Ministry of Health and the government can use to ensure that the people in Kilgoris, Tawish's kids, they're able to get the vaccine there. Sharon, have you received your vaccine?
To be quite very sincere, I have not yet, but it's something that I'm considering.
So maybe maybe from the panel, I'd like to know, why have you not received the vaccine? Because in Nairobi, the vaccine is all over the place.
Well, I think I was quite hesitant, especially whereby we've been having different doses being introduced. So I was still trying to get feedback from different people to find how different vaccines have been reacting. So right. I think,
can I give you the feedback? I took vaccine and I did not die. I am here, obviously.
I think basically Sharon is just
worried about the safety aspect. Yes. Tawish, kwa nini wewe hujapata vaccine?
I've been up country for some time. I just returned to the city a few days ago, so I'm just planning myself, Miriam. I'll be getting one soon. Right. Maybe before Friday.
Okay, that is very good, because I'm really trying to understand for the Kenyans who are still hesitant to going out and having these vaccines, because as we speak right now, we have 5 different vaccines. All these vaccines are safe for consumption, and we only have about 3 million Kenyans who have received this vaccine, which is about 2% of the population. And we are planning, we are really working, or the government rather is working so hard to see that the country is opened up. And you've seen the countries that have had a high uptake of the vaccine, they're able to open up the economy and people are able to travel and do all those things. So if we continue seeing these low numbers, that will not be good for our country, and the vaccines are safe. So why do you think Kenyans are still hesitant to go out there and take these vaccines? I think I'll talk to my fellow vaccinated panel list. That will be Daniel Wesonga.
Yes, thank you, Miriam Ogutu. And one thing I think Kenyans, we just have some kind of laxity as a people, even when we have people getting vaccinated, even when people are seeing people getting infected and getting sick, and some of them unfortunately dying, we still have that last minute notion of doing things. You want someone to come and push you, maybe your employer telling you you will not access this office until maybe you are vaccinated next week, or maybe perhaps just seeing a very compromising, a very, very desperate situation, maybe from experience. Until then, maybe you won't have someone going just voluntarily to get the jab. Also, one thing like Tarwish says, in the local grassroots areas, we do have either logistical problems in terms of vaccine distribution, or otherwise we could be having also some kind of misinformation, which I believe the Ministry of Health should lead the campaign of, first of all, making sure that the vaccines that are actually brought into the country reaches the remotest of the villages in this country. And number 2, also, we do have a campaign to educate people about the realities and the truth about the vaccines rather, because initially we have had a lot of stories coming from people, I'll call them fake researchers, who are on Facebook, on social media, everywhere, talking about myths which are associated with the vaccines. I think those are the things that the health workers should actually concentrate on in order to boost the high numbers of people who are taking vaccines across the country. But also, I saw one expert saying, people who are actually pessimistic about the vaccines, no one will spend their millions of dollars in developing a vaccine. No one will spend their billions of dollars to export or to transport this vaccine from Europe, from America, from China, to bring it to Kenya, just to kill a drunkard who is in a remote village in Chemolingot, or maybe someone who is in Homa Bay doing kazi ya kawaida, So people should not be quite pessimistic about these vaccines, because at the end of the day, it will help them boost their immunity. And I will tell you, Miriam, for me, even if it would call for a 3rd dose, like we are seeing in Europe, saying that my immunity will be much better as it is after the 2nd dose, then I'll always go for it. Because we've seen people get into the ICU after being infected with COVID. We've seen people who have lost their lives. Initially, we used to hear people saying COVID-19 is a hoax, and they will ask this infamous question: have you heard of anyone who is related to you, or maybe do you know anybody who knows anybody who has been infected by COVID? But as it is right now, every village, at least every village, has a grotesque COVID case where maybe one of their members was actually, whose life was taken away by COVID. So the clarion call is, let us all go get vaccinated. Let us push and actually educate everyone on the goodness of having this vaccine. And I believe with that, together with the efforts from the government through the Ministry of Health, we shall be able to combat this pandemic. I submit.
Okay, thank you so much. Tawish, do you think perhaps there's an issue when it comes to the information getting out there to the people? Because right now we understand COVID. I don't think anybody in this country, any corner of Kenya, does not know what COVID is and how deadly and lethal it is. And the misinformation that we've seen make people stay away from perhaps even getting vaccinated. Is there something else perhaps the government can do to ensure that people get the right information and perhaps, inspires confidence to encourage more Kenyans to go get vaccinated? Is there something that the Ministry of Health is not doing?
Thank you so much, Miriam, for that question. And I think you're very right that perhaps there's a lot of misinformation doing rounds as far as this vaccine is concerned. One, you've spoken about various types of jabs that we have today in the country, and people are not very sure which one is safe. Like you said, all of them are really safe. But of course, people have misinformation, or people are scared that perhaps there are some of these vaccines which are not actually fit for them. And I think the reason why this is happening is because of a lot of propaganda, not only happening in Kenya, but the rest of the world. The social media platforms are awash with different information regarding, of course, the vaccines that we have in the world today. In itself, therefore, Miriam, it's a very big challenge to the government and specifically the Ministry of Health to be in a position to carry out a sensitization program or a campaign that will effectively encourage and make every Kenyan really have a reason to go and take this jab. In fact, even the people themselves should also be reminded that taking this jab is not about another person, but it's about protecting yourself and protecting the lives of your kids. So it is important for people to be encouraged to go and take this jab. And the Ministry of Health really has that responsibility. They have the resources at their disposal to make this happen. We want to see, for example, when people go to churches, people are given more, there are campaigns that are being run. People go to funerals, they go to churches, or in any public forums, and also in the media. For example, in the newspapers. Also, the main, the media houses in the country today should be carrying out these initiatives freely, so that we can help the people of Kenya have this vaccine, have them take this vaccine, Miriam. So it is the responsibility not only of the Ministry of Health, but I think it is something that calls for all our attention. It calls for our all dedication to be in a position to go and take this jab. I think it is also a very big challenge on myself. Like you've mentioned, Miriam, I really will consider to go and have one in the course of this week, so that when we speak about this, I think we need to have a role, to be role models. We need to be examples, to lead as examples to other people and even to our listeners, that indeed we cannot be encouraging them to go and have this vaccine, yet ourselves we still have some reservations as to the effectiveness or the dangers that are there in this vaccine. So I believe that we need to carry out this sensitization and campaigns vigorously, and this must be spearheaded by the Ministry of Health or the larger government institutions. I submit, Miriam.
Okay, thank you so much, Sharon. Are you still hesitant now after listening? Tawish has had a change of heart. He'll come here. I think you have come with proof. Between today and Friday, he has promised. And you, have you had a change of heart? And if yes, I think, what else do you think the Ministry of Health should do to inspire confidence among Kenyans, starting with you?
Yes, and just like Tawish has said, I think we should, we should be the model. We should start being as a role models, trying to spearhead it. But I would really emphasize on running social media campaigns, to clear out misinformation and myths that have been put across, and the perceptions, with the COVID jab, where the COVID-19, jabs are concerned. Because I think I am one person who had already bought into, the social media. There's so many the social media myths that we've been having. When you talk about lactating mothers, me being one who are not supposed to have the jab, and also the issue about blood clots. There are so many myths that have been on social media that I think the government and the Ministry of Health should, come out with confidence, to give us. To assure us that it's a safe process, and it's a safe thing that we should all undertake. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Miriam, if you could just allow me the latitude, just an additional point to what Sharon has said. I think what the ministry as well can do is to try and encourage even those who have already taken the jab, like yourself, Miriam, to come out in the open and encourage other Kenyans, really, by telling them the experience they have had with the jab. In itself, therefore, Miriam, it will be writing off the kind of reservations or misgiving that some Kenyans have in as regards to this particular jab. Because if they cannot come out openly and tell people their experience and how they feel after taking the jab, I mean, we need to have that elaborate kind of sensitization and campaign that will encourage more Kenyans to go and take this jab. It is also quite discouraging, Miriam, and I think that is why you see people like maybe Sharon and others who haven't taken the jab being hesitant. Is because even the health officials, people who are working in the health institutions, like for example the nurses and some doctors, have also been reluctant on taking this jab. In fact, they have cast aspersions. Some of them feel like maybe the jab is not really safe for our people. Then in itself, Miriam, if you're not a trained medic, how can you be able to authoritatively question the position that has been taken by a person who has been trained in this particular field, having misgiving or reservation on this particular jab? So I think government really also need to look into that angle, because if you have nurses or doctors who are doubting this particular jab, how can an ordinary person really be able to trust that this jab is really safe for them to use? So I think those are some of the things that government really needs to work on so that we can have more people really go and take this jab, because it is one thing to bring the jab, but it's also another thing to continue and encourage the people to go and have this jab. We understand our situation. Our tradition is that we like last minute rush. When the jab is almost maybe getting over, that's when you will find everybody wants to go and take this jab. And also I think they must now set conditions or ceilings, that if you haven't taken a jab, maybe you're going to be denied certain public services. In itself also, I think it will give people encouragement to go and take this jab. We could just set some condition, not so severe, but one which are geared towards encouraging people to go and take this jab. I submit, Miriam.
Okay. Thank you so much. And of course, so far in the country, we do have 5 vaccines, and one of them is AstraZeneca, the other one is Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and the Chinese vaccine, Sinopharm. And the Ministry of Health has said the best vaccine is the one available where you are, because all these vaccines are safe and they're all effective. So you have no reason as to why you have not taken your vaccine. And of course, Johnson & Johnson
Miriam, where did the
is a single jab.
Where did the Sputnik go? I mean, there was a jab called Sputnik or something of the sort. Was it from Russia or where? The one that Deputy President William Ruto
No,
took,
these
was
ones
it
are for
only
free.
made for...
If you have 10,000 to pay, go look for it. But these ones are for free. These ones are for
it's
free.
Also available,
That is
but at a
something
fee.
that we
That is
should
what you mean.
underscore. You should underscore.
It's available,
Kenyans.
but at a fee. That is what you mean.
Yeah, probably. But these ones are free, so nobody should ask you for money. Wengine walikuwa wanadungwa maji someplace. I don't know. Kenyans were weird. Instead of just going where you're being told to go and get the vaccine for free, you pay so much money and you're being injected with things that is not even the vaccine. So go to an approved health facility that is coordinating with the government and Ministry of Health and get vaccinated. The vaccines are safe, all of them. So whichever one you get at that. Personally, I got AstraZeneca. I did not even have any headache or anything. We were fine. Went, got it, came to work, and I was fine, all right? Okay, thank you so much. Sam also, I wish. Thank you, Sharon Gitonga, and thank you, Daniel Wesonga. We'll see you here at 11 a.m., and we shall be looking at the coups in Africa. What is really happening? Remember yesterday we were telling you there was an attempted coup in Sudan. This is not the first time that has happened since the ousting of our former stronghold leader, Omar al-Bashir, in 2019. There has been another one, I think 2 that has been attempted before. So this was a third one, but it was thwarted by the military. So we shall come and look at the coups in Africa and what really this could mean to the democracy to the growing democracy in this continent. This has been Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Good morning.